fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration. I hope everybody had a great week. I had a fantastic week. One of my better weeks I've had. Today is going to be a short episode. I've been gone all week. I've not had time to prep anything. I've got so much stuff that I need to talk about and do. And so I'm going to have a very short episode today, all right? Because I've been gone since Wednesday, I believe. Well, Tuesday, I've been gone. And so just got back at Sunday. Just got back a little bit ago. It's already 5:30. And so got a lot of screenshots I need to go over. We're going to talk about grievances of different things people have sent me. I'm going to do that next Sunday. All right. And so it's going to be a short episode today. My episode today is going to be titled My Receipt. All right. My Receipt. Because I always keep receipts. And so today's show is going to be called My Receipt. It's not going to be long. All right. I'm going to talk about a few things before I get into my receipt. All right. If that's all right with y'all. You always have to have receipts, baby. Anytime you say something, you have to have receipts. You just have to play a little game to get some shit out there, and that way the receipt is even more sweet. And that's what we did, all right? Seriously, though, had a great week. Went to Branch 34's union meeting this past week, and it was a fantastic meeting. It was in Boston. And James Henry and I, Pam Donato, Paul Bolanger, John Cruz, we went up there. It was a very special meeting. And it's because Tom Rooney, who is the president of Branch 34, announced that he's going to be running for business agent with the CLC for Region 14. And that is a massive, massive pickup. And the reason being, as I've told you before, James Henry is putting together a slate of street fighters. And that's what I want to surround myself with, street fighters. Those that when I go into something, I don't have to look around and see if they're there. I know they are. I know they're in that fight. That's what I want, street fighters. And so James is surrounding himself, putting people on his slate that are street fighters, getting away from this cowardice that's run this union for so long. And I could not be more excited. I could not be more excited. And so I love Tom Rooney. We started talking a couple of years back about the podcast. He reached out. And then when we went to Boston, they were first class to me. And so I can't thank him enough for that. But his branch was awesome to me. And then when we went there this past week, they were awesome. Like I said, standing room only. People lined up in the back. The excitement, the energy that was in that building, that was awesome. Man, that was awesome. So I could not be more excited about Tom Rooney joining the CLC slate for business agent of Region 14. Dude is a powerhouse. And so hopefully we'll have some more great news tomorrow. That will be near and dear to my heart. And so we'll see. We'll see. But hopefully tomorrow we're going to have some more great news. I'm going to have some screenshots, some shout outs. All right. And then I'm going to get into my receipt. I've been waiting on this a little bit. Here's some shout outs. Hey, Corey, it's Dalton. Please give my man Grimmett Justin for being the biggest badass towards management. And so hopefully they'll know what I'm talking about. My man Grimmett Justin for being the biggest badass towards management. And so there's that one. Here's another. I want to give a shout out to Ron Maggard, our new shop steward here in National City, California, who is running for Sergeant of Arms for Branch 70. Ron has done an outstanding job since becoming our shop steward a few months ago. He is a hard worker, staying late after carrying his route and helping carriers in our office, knowing the rules and regulations with the post office. Shout out to Ron, and the best of luck running for Sergeant at Arms from Branch 70. Sincerely, Mike. So there you go, brother. Good luck to you. Got one from Spencer out of Branch 40 to Nicole Richardson in Salone, Ohio. The person who showed me what a union is supposed to be and represented me in situations where she didn't even have to. Thanks for fighting on behalf of principles and not dollars. And that's to Nicole Richardson in Salone, Ohio from Branch 40. And thank you for stepping up for your people. Here's another. This is a long message about somebody who was in the APW and now has gotten into the carrier craft in Northwest Georgia, Dalton, 1833. And at the bottom it says, I'm going to kind of pick up, I touched base with my prez and steward on your info. We had a lot of the old timers quit after COVID and continued degradation of the Postal Service and our craft. We struggle to pick up that mantle. President and steward are young guys. I'm 49, but they are beasts, sir, and would love if you could give a shout out to Dalton, 1833 in Northwest Georgia, to Ismail Magana and Mike Robles, or Robles. They're like 99.9999% undefeated, and that's a damn good record. So you got Dalton, 1833 in Northwest Georgia, to Ismail Magana and Mike Robles. They're like, it's going to be almost 100% undefeated. And so there's your shout outs. I've got some more. A lot of people send me things about GoFundMe's, and I'm going to do, I'll do research on those before I put those up to make sure everything's legit. I've got a few of those that come in. Let me do some research on those, and I don't mind putting those up. But just let me do some research on it, because if you're in need, baby, I want to take care of it. I want to put it out there, all right? And so, yeah, there's the shout outs. Now, on my Messenger, Facebook Messenger, I've got 1,000 messages. The problem is I'll answer 100, and when I get back into it, it's like a slot machine. And I don't know if y'all's does this or not, but when you get back into it, it'll just start going bing, 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 bing. I think I've talked about this before. Bing, 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 and they'll just start flooding in. So I don't know if those are some that I've got so many that they don't show up until I get through a bunch or what, but I'll have to look into that. So I will get to your message. I'll get to your email. I promise that. I promise. I'll get to your email. I'll get to your messages, okay? I've got a bunch, but I'll get to them. I promise you that. The Lion's Den, Paul Bolanger. I'm going to put those up on for Made Arbitration. That way the subscribers, people that listen to that, will catch on to that. I think they're going to try to do their own thing. I mean, we're all the CLC, but the Lion's Den maybe try to get up on their own format. I'll let y'all know about that. Until then, though, I'll just keep putting it up on my format, okay? And that way y'all can listen to it. I got a lot of great responses to Paul's message last time, with Richie Galvin, and they did the 6-day count. Great chemistry with those two guys. And I talked with Richie when I went up to Boston. Fantastic guy, smart as hell. And so much smarter than me on 6-day count. Of course, that ain't saying much, but he's fantastic. And so I thought they had great chemistry. Now, Paul, is going to be the director of education for the CLC. And that's one of the things I love about James, is him putting things in place. You make a promise, you're going to take care of that. We talk about educating the country. He said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm getting a director of education now. And we're going to take care of those things. We're going to take care of the workroom floor, toxic working environment. And so that's what I love about that. Paul is an outstanding educator, extremely bright, if you know who he is. And I can't wait to start working with him on educating, okay? And that's what I loved about Tom Rooney in Branch 34. When he announced that he's going to be running for business agent, he starts talking about his platform, basically. The very first thing he said, education. Education. They understand. So that's great stuff. And so, Lion's Den, I'm going to keep putting it up on here. He'll have one out this week. I'll make sure it gets put up. And then next Sunday, we'll have, I'll get back into educating, okay? We'll talk about that a little bit too when I talk about receipts. But get back into educating, and what we're going to do as the CLC, and quit getting distracted by dumb shit. And that's my fault. That's my fault, okay? I'm new to politics. And so my first reaction when somebody attacks somebody I love is I'm going to attack them, right? That's who I am. And so it's like that dog with the squirrel. You just walking along, and that's so much a tear off for a squirrel, like, hey, focus on what's going on. That's on me. That's on me, and I apologize. Okay? And so I'm going to get back on track and start educating, talking about what the CLC is going to do, because James Henry's going to win. There's no doubt. It's just by how much, right? But receipts. Had an interesting week, didn't we? If you've been online, you would have seen it. Had a very interesting week. Last week, I told you about some things that had been said about James Henry. And I'm going to talk about this, and then the last I'm going to talk about others. Okay? This is the last I'm going to give them any airtime on anything. But I talked about something that was said about James, and my first instinct was to be irate. And I was. I don't know if y'all could tell it or not. But something so completely ignorant being said about a friend of mine, somebody running for president, by somebody else running for president. And it took me back. I get the politics of it, but it was the extreme ignorance of that, okay? And so I talked about that last week, about this person running for president that said that James could not win because of the color of his skin. The matter of fact, the quote was, James couldn't win because he's black, okay? And that set my ass on fire because I love James. I love him, right? And so after that, all hell breaks loose, right? His supporters came out with pitchforks and torches. Man, they were looking for the monster. Said that about their beloved, right? How dare you say something like that? Just make something up like that about somebody that we support and somebody that we donate to. Because there's no way he could say that. There's no way that anybody could say that, And if it's just a regular Joe Blow, I get it. But this is somebody that's going to be running for the highest position in this union, president. And so they were all over me on social media. And so I had people coming out saying, hey, man, if you got receipts, go and put them out there. I said, if you ever watch Braveheart, it's my favorite movie. Braveheart is. And their first huge battle, remember the one with all the horses they were going against? And so William Wallace had done educating with his uncle, Argyle. And he had taught him how the ways of battle. And so these horses are riding down on them. And it's just like thunder, the ground shaking. And so they've got these real long spears. I mean long, 20 feet long probably. Maybe not that long, but long. And so made out of these trees. And so the horses are riding down on him, and he had to wait for just the right time. Remember that? And so people are really getting nervous, and they're looking at him like, come on. And what does he say? Hold, hold, hold. And they're looking like, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. He's like, hold. And then he pulls them up, and the horses ram themselves on it. So when people are telling me, hey, man, a lot of shit going on, you need these receipts. And I'm like, hold on. Hang on. Because people are showing their true colors, right? Now, it's either one of two things. It's either that Corey just woke up one day and said, hey, I'm just going to make up some shit and put it out there. Because that's what I do, right? I'm just going to make up a fucking accusation that's that damning. Okay? So I'm just going to do that. And so everybody was on fire. They were just, man, Corey's a piece of shit. He's a liar. All these things. and of course, my people are running to my defense. And listen to me. I'm being serious here. I'm being serious. You don't ever have to come to my defense. Ever. I appreciate you doing it. I get it. You don't ever have to do that. Do you know why? Because I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me or says about me. And that's the honest to God's truth. I'm 56 years old, man. I have done some shit. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me or says about me. I really don't. I couldn't care less about that. So y'all don't have to come to my defense. I do appreciate it, but and so while all this shit's going on, I never said a name, but Mike Cariff writes a letter and he puts it out there because what I'm hoping will happen is something that is that fucking idiotic to be said. I'm hoping that Mike will reach out to James and apologize, like Renfro should have done for what he did to James, which never happened. Y'all remember in Boston when Renfro said, I'll reach out to James. To this day has never reached out to James, apologizing for making shit up about him. So I'm hoping that Mike will do that he'll reach out to James and apologize for what he said about him. Instead, he writes a statement and puts it out on social media that it was untrue. He never said that. And that talks about mudslinging and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's not true. I never said that about James Henry. And so that was bizarre. Completely bizarre. Because I know, he knows, and those he told knows that he said it. And so I have to admit, even though I've got a text that I sent somebody before saying he was going to come out and he's going to deny it, because I understand his MO, just like with the CLC. When he left and he started, texting people, which people still have the text where he said he was going to back James, and then I never said that. So it's kind of his MO to do things and then become the victim. This was another case of that. He said what he said. I confronted him about it because I think it's complete fucking bullshit to say something like that. And what'd he do? I didn't say that. And so now you have a conundrum again. You got me saying that he did, and him coming out vehemently denying that. I never said it to anybody. So social media is on fire again. His supporters they're screenshotting it, putting it out. This is how you do it. This is how you do it, right? And so if y'all are watching social media, it was a firestorm, wasn't it, man? That was crazy. So, yeah. Unfortunately, he lied to you. Chris Jackson, the director of City Delivery, is one of the people that Mike told that to. And Chris Jackson called me, and he says, hey, Corey, when Mike put up that letter denying that he said that, he said, I called Mike. And I told Mike, when you put that up, you're being untruthful. Because you told me that. He said, I remember you told me two things. You told me that James Henry wasn't qualified to be president. And then you told me that James Henry would not win because he's black. And so him and Mike got into it a little bit, and Mike hung up on him. And so Chris Jackson calls me. He says, you can tell people that they can reach out to me if they want to, and I will tell them that Mike said that Mike told me that, and that I called him, and that I have receipts in the form of a phone call log, right? And so it was bizarre. To me, you're running for president. If you're going to run on your record, do that. If that's what you're going to tell everybody, I'm running on my record, I'm the victim, do that. Run on your record. And for him to say some shit like that, so completely fucking ignorant about James Henry, and then walk that back, deny that. Instead of reaching out to James, said, hey, I told multiple people this, James. I know that those people have contacted you, James, and told you that. I apologize. It was taken out of context. I was not meaning it to sound like that. This is what I was talking about. Something, but to come out, because you're going to say, hey, maybe he was saying it in this form, that, hey, in this context, James, that's what I was meaning. But when you lie about it, to me, that means that there was some kind of malice. That's my opinion. Or else just say, hey, James, I apologize that it came across that way. That's not what I meant. Do that. But when you lie about it, to me, it shows some form of malice. So Chris Jackson, the director of City Delivery, is one of the ones that he told that to. And he told me, I want you to put that out there so that anybody who wants to call me and verify that can do that. Because he told me James wasn't qualified and that he could not win because he's black. Okay? And so, yes, last week I was mad as fuck because I thought that probably the dumbest shit I've ever heard. First, that James wasn't qualified because there's nobody more qualified to do that than James. And second, that he could not win something based on the color of his skin. So I went to fuck off, right? Because that pissed me the fuck off, man. I was a mad motherfucker last week. You know it? And then people are like, I need names. And I'm like, just hang on. Because I'm hoping this person will do the right thing. They did not. They denied it. So when they denied it, I got on their page, which I never do. I don't ever get on anybody's page unless I want to say something nice to them. But I got on the page and I said, hey, brother, you did say it. I told him one of the people he said it to. And then I said, I invite you onto my podcast, Broham, so that you can, me and you can talk about it. Because there's other things we need to address and be done with it. You know, there's other things that need to be addressed and gotten out of the way. And so come on. Didn't hear from him. Then the Next Generation Carriers podcast reached out to me and said, hey, we want y'all to come on and let's talk about it. I said, I'll be on. I went on my family vacation this past weekend to Gatlinburg. Just got back. Had a ball, man. That was a blast. There's about 30 of us. It's the best time. So I said, I can't be on the 19th, which they wanted. I said, but I'll be on after that because there are things that need to be gotten out of the way, that need to be addressed, right? Because I've got text messages as well. And so just put an end to it, you know? Just be done with it. And talk about your platform and all this shit. And now that you're talking about this mudslinging, right? And so, yeah, I said, I've got receipts on anything I fucking say. Now, the establishment's going to come out, right? And those, I thought it odd that those that fight for Renfro were the same ones coming and fighting for Cariff. I thought that was telling, right? It's telling. People so worried about votes and splitting the vote. And I'm like, Cariff's not taking any votes away from James Henry. He'll take votes away from Renfro. He will not take any votes. James Henry's going to win in a landslide. It just, how much? And so, yeah, last week I was a mad motherfucker, man. And because I knew that he had said it. I know the names of the people he said it to. And but Chris Jackson was the one who reached out to me and said, hey, I called him and called him out on that letter when he said he didn't say it, because I told him, you did say it, Mike, and you were being untruthful to your supporters and you're being untruthful to others when you wrote that saying you didn't say it, because you did, because you told it to me. And Chris said, anybody want to call him? He'll verify that. But here's what changed me. And here's what changed me, and here's what I'm going to do from now on, because part of this is my fault. Part of this is my fault. James Henry called me because I was mad. I'm telling you, baby, I was pissed that something that fucking ignorant can come out of somebody's mouth. And James called me. He told me he loved me. He said, brother, I love you, man. He said, we're riding together, baby. We're riding together. He said, I forgave Mike the second I heard it. He said, the second I heard it, I forgave Mike. He said, I need you to do the same. He said, I need you to forgive him, and I need you to forget it. And I remember walking outside and saying, no, because I want to scrap, right? I want to fight when some dumb shit like that comes out. But I promised James then. I said, brother, I promise you this. I'll be done with that. And from now on, that's why I say from now on, from this day forward, it's going to be about the CLC, what we're going to do when we take over, and educating. I'm not going to be chasing squirrels, okay? And that's my fault, and I apologize. I know a lot of people are pissed. They're like, fuck, we're getting tired of it. I get it. I hear you. I hear you. And that's my fault. And I apologize for that to y'all, okay? Because that's not what this is for. But like I don't do politics. This is new to me. So when somebody says some dumb shit, I'm going to address it. Not anymore. Not anymore. At the request of James Henry, because I love the guy. I respect the shit out of him. If he can forgive him, I can forgive him, right? And so, yeah, I forgive him for saying dumb shit. And anybody who wants to check on the receipt, call Chris Jackson, the director of City Delivery. And he said he has the phone record if you want to check on that, right? And so that's this episode. I was hot, I was mad, and came out last week on fire, right? I think that there's nothing more ignorant that anybody can say, let alone somebody running for president, that somebody cannot win because of the color of their skin. And I think that that's ignorance personified. It's exceedingly ignorant. But I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And I'm done with anything outside the CLC. I promise you. Hey, look, this is what we'll do. This is a promise from me to you. All right? From this day forward, I'm going to talk only about the CLC and what we're going to do, because we're going to take over next year. I don't need to be a distraction to the CLC, to James Henry, because I want to fight all the fucking time. And I don't need that to be a distraction to them, okay? Now, they have not said that to me. But to me, after you look and you listen and you watch and shit, and I don't need that to be a distraction to this, because we're going to take over next year. That's a foregone conclusion. And y'all need to understand who I am. What am I going to do when I'm EVP? What's that going to look like? Education, that's all. If I could just educate, that'd be the best, because that's all I want to do. Got a lot of shit we're going to do next Sunday, right? I can't be chasing squirrels, and that's what I've been doing. So I apologize to anybody out there who says, man, I'm just sick of this shit. I am too. But, sometimes when somebody continues on with shit, you got to call them out for it. And that's what I did. And so hopefully, he's talking about mudslinging. Hopefully he'll get on his platform what he's going to do. All right, we'll see. But here's what I'll do. Get back to this. Here's what I'll do. If I say anything, now we're going after the establishment, right? So I'm going to talk about the establishment. If I reference Mike Cariff in any way, from here until after the election, I'll donate $1,000 to his campaign. Y'all heard it here. And I'll take a picture of the check that I'm going to send, $1,000. If I say anything about him, anything good, anything bad, even a name, even Mike Cariff, if I say that, I'll donate $1,000. I just don't want dumb shit to come out of people's mouths about James Henry. And that was dumb shit. All right. So there's your receipt. People wanted it. I could have given it to you earlier, but I wanted this firestorm. I wanted the passion from his people. I wanted the passion from others, because it's impossible for somebody to say something that ignorant. It's impossible for the person that I donate my money to, that I'm supporting, to say something like that. It has to be Corey just making up dumb shit, coming on here and saying dumb shit. It has to be that. It cannot be that my person said something so completely, blatantly ignorant. It can't be that. And it was. And so, there's your receipt. Chris Jackson will tell you everything you need to know. Okay, you want a name? There's your name. There are others. There are other names. But that's all you'll need. That's all I would need in arbitration. So, but yeah, starting Sunday, next Sunday, I've got a lot of screenshots, okay, that we're going to get to. All right? A lot of screenshots. I got Paul Bolanger, Lion's Den. We're going to start putting those out. Fantastic education. I know that they did their Zoom today, nationwide Zoom, on route inspections, how to grieve route inspections. You're going to see a lot more of that stuff, a lot more of education. And so, we're going to educate the country. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I love the city letter carrier with all my heart, and I want to see what's best for them. Okay? I want to see what's best for them. All this side noise, I need to put on earmuffs and don't listen to it, right? Because I cannot keep getting distracted from that. And I have. And like I said, I apologize 1,000,000 times over for that. I love you. I love you with all my heart. And I want to see what's best for you. I'm going to fight my ass off for you when I get in there as EVP, just like everybody else on the slate. Okay? Forgive me for getting distracted. Forgive me for that, please. I beg you. And because we need to get shit right. We need to get back focused on what we're doing, educating the workroom floor. All right? Educating the workroom floor, because the city letter carrier comes first. Like I said, and there is no second. To those in Branch 34 in Boston, thank you so much for giving us Tom Rooney. Thank you. And he will not disappoint. I promise you that. Should have some great news tomorrow. Some that I've been looking out for about 6 fucking months. For a long time, right? So, but those of you who came to my defense, I love you, man. I do. I promise you, I don't lose a second sleep about what people say about me. I just don't, man. I never have. It's never bothered me. And it was all over the place, man. People were hot, son. They were fired up. And so I hate to break your heart. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right. I love y'all very much. I'm sorry this is so short and such a shitty topic, but I'll be done with it after today. Okay? No more. No more. People can say what they want to about me on other shows, other podcasts. I know From Afar came out going at me. I'm not going to address anymore. Okay? I had fun with it with that one because that was a good time. This one, because you went after my friend who I love so much. But I'm going to stay focused on CLC, educating y'all as much as I can, and sharing screenshots with y'all as far as what's on the workroom floor, the here and now. I think that's the most important thing for Mate Arbitration, right? We did a lot of basic stuff, a lot of basic trainings on 16 and 8, wind of operation, dispatch of value. It's a plethora of things that we've put out, and we'll continue. JB, it's getting wintertime. He'll be back. He's wanting to come back, but like I said, his son plays baseball damn near year round, and he coaches. And I would not ever, ever, ever ask him to take a second away from his son. A lot of people have reached out, where's JB? I guess they're tired of hearing from me. And so he'll be back. He'll be back. He already has a couple of topics he wants to talk about. So I'll get him back on here. I don't think there's anybody better than JB. I love that guy. He's an absolute beast. And so, yeah, man, great things coming. Great things coming, okay? Stay with me. Stay with me. We're going to do some educating out the ass, and then I got about 4 things. Next Sunday's going to be a long one. I got about 4 things that are very intricate, okay, that we're going to talk about. Have your pen and paper ready. And so I'll talk to y'all next Sunday. I love you. I love you. I love you. Even if you hate me, I love you. I promise you that. I'll talk to y'all next Sunday, all right? Bye.